is our first opportunity to see our new team and for everybody to see the boys. The boys are back in town. And it should be a big year for the O's. 25th anniversary of Camden Yards, still one of the most beautiful ballparks in America. And we have a new playing surface, which looks terrific, by the way. I mean, all it needs is about 5 or 6 more growing days, and you'll be in mid-season form. So Nicole Sherry and her crew did a great job, not just on the planning, but on implementing the field. And there's always a few bumps in the road along the way, and hopefully we'll get those out of the way with the new field. But it looks great. And it's always a relief to get the 25-man team together. So we started with over 50, and we've been able to whittle it down. But it looks like we got a pretty solid lineup. We should hit a lot of home runs. Hopefully we get some guys on base a little bit more this year so we can leverage that. Have guys on base when we do hit our home runs. And Seth Smith is good on base man. Joey Rickard's back. He's a good on base man. And hopefully we added some better defense to our outfield. That was one thing we were trying to improve. Certainly the addition of Gentry on the team will add to that. And I think Seth Smith will be an upgrade for our defense in the outfield. And we're looking forward to a good year.
Did you feel like you were able to get a little creative with the roster given the early off days, the 10-day disable issue, able to do some different things?
Well, the 10-day disabled list, that make it a little bit easier to manage the roster this year, and the club can make more aggressive decisions to decide to put the player on the roster, because now obviously the player doesn't have to be out for 2 weeks. And by putting them on the DL, you don't have to wait in that limbo period to wait a couple of days, and because we always try to wait for a couple of days for the veteran position players to see if they can come back before we put them on the DL. Now with the 10 days, for pitchers especially, you know, you could have some soreness, you can skip a start and then come back for your next start with that 10-day DL. So I hope that'll be better for, you know, keeping the pitchers healthy. So, but that should be interesting. I think that's a lot better for everybody.
Dan, Buck said you guys worked till this morning to try to work something out about Tavares. How did that all go down, and was that a disappointment that you weren't able to keep him somehow in the organization?
Well, we worked hard on that. We exchanged a number of names with the Red Sox. Obviously, we like Tavares. We drafted him. But I can tell you, and you know, under different circumstances, we might have given up more in the trade to acquire him. But I got to tell you, we were so impressed with Cedric Mullins coming into spring training and doing what he did that we have him in Double-A. He's going to start the season in Double-A, so we can take a look at him. And he might be able to do the job that we had in mind for Nuri Tavares later in the season. You never know. But the really good players that are natural players, and there's a couple of signs that tell us that Mullins is a natural player. Like he's one of 5 players that had double figures in doubles, triples, homers, stolen bases last year in the minors. So that's one of them. But the fact that he can come into big league camp uninvited and hit like 7 home runs in spring training this year, that's pretty impressive. Plus, he's probably our fastest runner. So when we saw what Mullins could do, it wasn't as urgent for us to acquire a player of similar ability. And that's why we tendered Tavares back to the Red Sox. So that's good for us, right? Right? I mean, we found a player that we like, that we already had in the organization. And then Gentry had a really good spring, and we selected him. We like Gentry's defense on the team. Gentry's a very good defensive outfielder, and that's what we were looking. So, you know, based on the number of choices that we had in the spring, we were able to make what I hope is the right decisions. If we didn't make the right decisions, we'll try again. we got some pretty good depth in AAA and AA. But it should be a good year. I like the team. I like the upgrades. I like the depth to the pitching staff, and I like that we have more qualified major league pitchers that are going to be available to us at AAA. And hopefully a couple of them will develop in the starting pitchers. But looking forward to a good opening day. Hopefully the weather holds off, right? And our fans will get to see our players returning very similar to the team last year that made the playoffs. See if we can do it again in advance.
What does it mean for the club and the fans and everyone involved to have someone like Kevin Gossman, who's a homegrown starting pitcher, starting on opening day?
Well, if he pitches well, they'll be happy. It's a great honor for Kevin, and Kevin earned it based upon how he's pitched and developed over his career. And I know he's excited about it. He's going to give it his best. But he really matured last year, second half of the season. So opening day starter is a terrific honor. So I'm sure Kevin will treat it very seriously. But we're proud that he came through the system as well. That we identified his talent and helped him develop it so that he could be an opening day starter. We hoped he would become an opening day starter when we drafted him.
Kind of follow up on guys who came up, farm fans who came up. If you had let Drake, Drake had not made this team, he would have gone through waivers. He possibly could have been claimed.
I heard he already went through waivers.
He was in the organization since 2008. What were the thoughts on putting him on this roster?
Oliver Drake has an established track record of success, and he's done very, very well. He was the minor league pitcher of the year a year ago in AAA. So he didn't pitch that well in spring training, although he did have a couple of good outings at the end. And we thought he earned the spot. Good for him. He came to the minors, and this is his first opening day. So it's an honor to be on a major league roster opening day. So anybody that's on that roster has certainly earned it, and Oliver earned it. Plus, he's the only major leaguer from Gardner, Mass. in the history of the town. But good for him. Trey Mancini too. He's on the opening day roster. Trey proceeded to hit in spring training like he did last September. So he looks like he's going to be a pretty darn good hitter. But he's worked hard to earn a spot on the major league roster, and frankly, we're proud of that. He came through the minors. He was the minor league player of the year a year ago. And he's shown not only can he hit, but he can hit the ball the other way with power. So, and he's making some adjustments playing the outfield. So I'm encouraged by him. I'm glad that Joey Rickard's back. We missed him the second half of the year. And looking forward to the veteran players on our club to have great years. Manny worked hard, John Scope worked hard, Adam Jones looks like he's primed to have a good year. And our bullpen is really strong. We should have another good bullpen. But there should be a lot of hope for Oriole fans this year going into the season. We've tried to address the needs of the club and to add to the ball club to eliminate some of the weaknesses from the last year's ball club. And we're going to find out if we did our job well. And then hopefully we'll get Chris Tillman back soon. And the young guys will develop and hold down the fort till he returns.